Alright, so here's my setup of kind of how I collect the eggs of these killifish. I have down here is a spawning mop in a bucket so water doesn't get everywhere. Right here is where I'm going to be placing all the eggs that I collect in this cup here. All it is a water bottle that I chopped off the top of. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's 5 a.m. in the fish room, and today we're going to be looking at that bottom left tank, and we're going to collect some killifish eggs. In here we have 12 clown killifish. These are really tiny nano fish. Let me back up some so properly show the killifish. Really colorful. They have black and white pattern. They have blue eyes. They have a really cool looking tail, especially the males, and they lay eggs all the time in the spawning mop here. Now I made this spawning mop. It's made out of a wine cork at the top and then yarn, and that's kind of how it's made. Every day I pull it out and I pull all the eggs out of here and I put them in a hatch out jar, and then once they hatch I put them in the fry system. And so I want to show you guys that process today. Alright, let's go ahead and pull out this spawning mop. Really easy to grab because it's just right here, floating with the corkscrew. So let's go ahead and take it out, plop it in my bucket so I don't get water everywhere, and we're gonna take it to my little station over here. So here's the gardener eye killifish. We're also gonna be collecting the eggs from this spawning mop. This is another type of killifish and they get much larger. Not too much larger. You can see the female here, maybe about 2.5, 3 inches. She doesn't get as colorful as the male. The male is back there. Let me see if I can get maybe I should feed them a little bit and see if they'll come. Put a little bit of food in there. Alright, so the male killifish is all the way in the back, and he is absolutely stunning. Look at him, look at his colors, look at that turquoise green, those red dots, the orange on the fins. This is just a beautiful fish. We're gonna collect some eggs. The way they lay eggs is they normally lay eggs every single day, but just 1 or 2, not a whole lot. But look at him, a really cool fish. It's a shame you don't see these in more community tanks because they are peaceful. They do live a decent amount of time. You know, they live a few years. So not a very long time, but you know, same as, you know, a lot of tropical fish. And we're gonna see how many eggs we can get from them today. All right, so here's my setup of kind of how I collect the eggs of these killifish. I have down here is a spawning mop in a bucket so water doesn't get everywhere. Right here is where I'm going to be placing all the eggs that I collect in this cup here. All it is a water bottle that I chopped off the top of. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Then I have a high powered light up here so I can really see what I'm doing. And then I have a little pipette. Now, what you want is you want to make sure that you have some kind of jar to put these eggs in. And it's just going to be the tank water from that tank. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. But there is something that you are going to want to put in there, which is methylene blue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And what you want to do is you want to take your container filled up with tank water, and you want to get a little pipette like this, and you're just going to dip just the smallest amount. You're not even going to suction anything up. Just it coating the outside is enough. You're going to put it in here, show you guys what it looks like. And you're just gonna stir it around just to make it kind of bluer than it is, I guess. Give it a good swirl. Now you do gotta remember, you want to make sure it's a container that you don't absolutely love, because this methylene blue here is going to stain whatever you have. That's why I'm not taking the eggs out and putting it in their own separate tank, because this will stain the glass, the silicone, all that, or whatever plastic container you put it in. Now, why do you want to use methylene blue? The reason why you want to use this stuff is because it is a way to make sure that you have a higher hatch rate. And how it does that is it's going to prevent fungus from growing on your eggs. It's going to prevent your eggs from going bad. So this is just very helpful. It's not gonna have all your eggs hatch. Some of them are still gonna fungus over, but you're gonna have much more success with this than without it. Now, once you have your water and your container prepped, then it's time to kind of look at these eggs here, your spawning mop. But you're gonna wanna look carefully because these eggs are absolutely tiny. Here's one right here. All right, let me give you a close up. So right here, where my thumb is, I don't know if that's showing up well in the camera, but right there is a little egg. It's really tiny. I'm gonna get it. And then all you have to do is grab it really gently, and then you'll have it on your finger, just like this. See how tiny that is? And then all you do is on the tip of your finger, and you're just gonna drop it in. Now, whenever I was searching through the clown killifish eggs, I only found one egg. And normally there's 10 or 15 eggs in there, but I think the reason why there wasn't that many eggs was because it was during the holidays and I wasn't feeding them as heavily. They like a protein-packed food, so I know I'm gonna feed them to get them nice and happy so they start spawning again. But whenever I was looking at the gardener eye killifish, I found one. This is what the egg looks like. It's a little bit larger, but still really small and hard to see. And I put this in its own separate container just so I can separate the two types of killifish, especially since one gets so much larger. Now, in the gardener eye spawning mop, there is a ton of eggs. I probably found anywhere from 10 to 15 eggs in this one, and I put them all in that square container there. Now, I didn't get many eggs from the clown killifish, so I'm gonna feed them some good food, lots of protein food. This is a mixture of baby brine and Daphnia, all freeze-dried. Give them a good bit, just so they can munch on that. Oh, there's already a couple swarming too. Oh, there's a couple up there. They see the food. Oh, they're probably hungry. I think what it is, the reason why they weren't breeding as much is because, well, it's the holidays, right? Christmas just ended, and I didn't feed them as much as I should. So they're probably just not in the mood because they're not getting tons of great protein. Because before, when I was feeding regularly before the holidays, when I was home more often, they were getting fed all the time and they were laying eggs every single day. I would find, you know, a handful of eggs at a minimum. So I'm gonna let them eat. I'm gonna start feeding them a lot more. Oh, here's a lot more of them. They're all coming. See if we can get a good close-up here. Look at these little guys. So interesting. Really cool nanofish. So from the gardener eye killifish, we probably got about 15 eggs. We got a decent amount of eggs, so I'm happy about that. We do have them in two separate hatch-out jars. So as you saw me put them in here, this is the gardener eye killifish in here. And let me see if I can get you a close-up with some light. You may be able to see the eggs because the eggs are a little bit larger. So if you look down there, you see all those little things down there? Those are all, there you go, the lights, you see it better if I put the light at that end. You see all those eggs? Those are all gonna be gardener eye killifish. So I can't wait till those hatch out. And then in here, you saw me put the clown killie. Those are tiny. We're not going to be able to see those too easily on camera. And essentially, I don't put an air stone in here or anything. So they don't need an air stone. They just leave it as is. The temperature needs to be at 60 degrees or above. Now, the gardener eye killifish, they hatching in a couple weeks. The clown killies takes about 10 days and they'll hatch. I've already had some clown killies hatch, and I put them in this container here. This is my fry grow out system. So it's really simple. All we have is a water pump, pumps up water through a tube, goes through a connector that then branches off into 3 traditional airline tubings, all of which feed water into the container. Now, each of these containers then fill up with water, and there's gonna be a cutout in the container, and then a sponge put in here so water can come out, so they can get a continuous flow of new water from the bottom tank. But the sponge is here so that the fish won't fall out. In this one I have maybe 50 or 60 baby German black rams. They're itty bitty, just little wigglers. Gonna be incredibly difficult to see. And I don't see, oh, I see one right there. He's just wiggling around. Do you see that? That's a little wiggler. We got a couple free swimming in there as well. And here we have the tiniest, just hatched out clown killies. We'll take a look. I doubt we're gonna be able to see them because I put a lot of Java moss and guppy grass just so they have some food to find real easily. But I don't see anything off the bat, but I did put a couple in here. I'll put a video of me doing that. This one doesn't have anything in it yet. It's gonna go, the gardener eye killifish are gonna go in here once they hatch out. Haven't had any hatch out yet. Oh, here's another gardener eye killifish. This is a female. She came up to the front of the tank, so I figured I'd show her off. She's not as colorful as the male, but she still looks good. It's a good looking fish. Well guys, this is gonna wrap up this video. If you're wondering how do you collect eggs from a spawning moth, this is how you do it, especially with killifish, with gardener eye killifish and the clown killies. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.